Campbell. It is a closed roof here at Rogers Center. The Yankees had their 6-game road winning streak snapped last night. They tied their season low with just 3 hits. Joe Girardi's ball club was stymied last night by R.A. Dickey and some sharp defense. Here's their lineup tonight. Let's take a look at the top of the order. Jacoby Ellsbury has been red hot. Ellsbury's riding a long hit streak, 7-gamer. Mark Teixeira is back in the lineup tonight. He's in the cleanup spot. For his career, he's played 118 games against the Blue Jays. He has 31 home runs and has driven in 91 runs against the Jays. And Brian McCann, he too was out of the game last night. Against Marco Estrada, the Jays started tonight. He's gone 5 for 11 with an OPS over 9, so he has had some success against Estrada.
The 31-year-old right-hander, he was acquired for Adam Lind from the Brewers in that deal shortly after the 2014 season. It's his first career start as a Blue Jay following 6 relief appearances. Estrada pitched at Boston last Tuesday. He got the win in relief of Drew Hutchison, pitching 3 scoreless, hitless innings through 48 pitches. He looks to build off of that. He'll probably get up to 70-75 tonight.
Marco Estrada is now 31 years old. He was born in Sonora, Mexico, and grew up in Southern California. Jacoby Ellsbury steps in. Estrada is set. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. It is in there, and we are underway. Strike 1 to Ellsbury. Estrada has thrown very well pitching out of the bullpen, and John Gibbons, I'm sure, is hoping he'll do the same here tonight. High fastball. It's 0-2. Ellsbury, who mentioned his 7-game hit streak. It's been a good one. His average of 347. He's 15 for 30 over that 7-gamer. Martin wants it down and away. It's a changeup right back up the middle. Ellsbury extends his hit streak to 8 straight. Well, we told you earlier how well the defense has played for the Blue Jays. Chris Colabello gets his first start in left field. Pilar's in center and Ezekiel Carrera in right. Josh Donaldson is the third baseman up the middle. It's Goins and Travis, and they've been terrific. Lots of range and strong arms. Smoke starts at first, and Russell Martin will team up with Marco Estrada tonight.
Colabello just up from AAA Buffalo. He'll be in left field. It's his first career start in left field. He played outfield, but predominantly right field parts of the last 2 seasons with the Twins.
This is Brett Gardner. Ellsbury inching off at first. Gardner had his 6-gamer snapped last night. He went 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. This is a very good 1-2 punch, top of the order for the Yankees.
And you want to keep them off base, so not a good start for Estrada already. Ellsbury with the 0-2 base hit. Changeup that stayed up in the zone.
Quick throw, and Ellsbury's back standing up. Ellsbury is 9 for 14. He's been caught 5 times stealing. Russell Martin's been terrific in his ability to shut down the running game. He's thrown out 46% of the runners so far. A little closer this time.
Good job by Marco holding on to the baseball there. That's what you want to do as a pitcher. If you can come set, hold the baseball for 1,001, 1,002. Make that runner freeze over there. Base stealers do not like that. The other thing Marco has to do is change it up. Sometimes come set, quick pitch a little bit.
Ellsbury broke and didn't like his jump. A changeup, and Gardner swings through it.
And that can be part of Estrada changing his timing up right there. That's a good job by the veteran. You have a base stealer on first base. You want to upset his timing. Do not let him try to time you when you come to the set position. Get a good jump.
Going to first again. Inside. 2 balls and a strike to Brett Gardner. Gardner's a good contact hitter, and Ellsbury at first has good speed. They know Estrada's a strike throw, so they might start to run and play hit and run early in this game. Not running here. Foul chipped into the catcher's glove. Brett Gardner just 0 for 2 against Estrada. We mentioned Estrada making his first start against the Yankees. Joe Girardi's in his 8th season as the Yankee manager. Estrada did a good job right there. He used the slide step, and Ellsbury was caught off guard.
And the only problem for a pitcher, sometimes they have to make the adjustment in their delivery by using the slide step. He was quick with his body going forward. The arm trails a little bit. See that pitch missing, arm side up and away to Gardner.
Alex Rodriguez is on deck. Full count, nobody out. There goes Ellsbury. Foul back to the screen. Boy, Martin gets himself into a good throwing position. He anticipates that jump. Full count. You expect Ellsbury to run in this situation. Estrada's not a big strikeout pitcher, but Martin gets his feet moving very quickly.
We've seen that with the Baltimore Orioles catchers. We were talking to Matt Wieters when the Orioles were in town. Caleb Joseph does it very well. These are guys that to throw out a real good base stealer, you've got to cheat yourself as a catcher. We've seen Russell do that, and it's paid off.
There goes Ellsbury again. Another foul straight back. So Ellsbury will go back to first. Gardner has struck out just 11 times this season. He's a tough out. Puts the bat on the ball. Good numbers over his last 15 games. We mentioned he had his 6-game hit streak snapped here last night. Yankees had just 3 hits. That time it caught the mask of Martin. Everything seems to be in the same spot, and he's fouling it off.
And that's why he needs to get that ball down in the zone. You stay in that same spot against good hitters, they're going to get you. These are 2 speedy guys to have at the top of the lineup, both left-handers. It's interesting that Joe Girardi's gone that route, but they've both hit left-handed pitching. They can do that. That's a great 1-2 combination with that speed at the top of the lineup with the boppers following them.
Gardner's hit 400 against lefties this season. Going away again this time. Ellsbury wasn't running. Needed to take a breather.
And his wind sprint's in over there.
Ellsbury's hitting .419 against left-handers, so it doesn't make any difference. You put these 2 guys at the top of your order, they're going to get on base and they can run. Ellsbury has 9 stolen bases. Gardner has 8. Good table setters for that guy, Alex Rodriguez. There he goes. Quite a battle going on here between Estrada and Gardner. This is the concern I'm sure John Gibbons has, is pitch count. He's thrown 13 pitches already in the first inning, and working out of the bullpen, of course, he hasn't been stretched out. Most pitches he has thrown came in his last outing. He threw 48 pitches in 3 innings of work at Boston. There's a little looper that's going to drop. Carrera over to cut it off, and Ellsbury goes to third. Gardner's going to slide into second. So it's second and third for the big hitter, Alex Rodriguez. Rodriguez has 6 home runs so far this season. And you look at the all-time home run hitters against the Blue Jays, it's an impressive list. Canseco starts it with 41.
Well, these guys have had tremendous success against the Blue Jays. We've seen Manny Ramirez do it more than once, and of course David Ortiz, and he's still doing it to this day. A-Rod here trying to get his name up on that record books list.
Alex Rodriguez has 660 career home runs. He's tied with the great Willie Mays for 4th all-time in home runs. The average just 229, but he's done some damage. His last home run came as a pinch hitter Friday night in Boston against Junichi Tsuzawa. The Strata's got a tough situation early on. Second and third, nobody out. Outside, ball one.
That's the curveball again from Estrada. We saw that to Brett Gardner. That final pitch, Gardner was able to stay on that ball. First curveball he threw to him, but he stayed on just enough, got towards the end of the bat, but to drop it in that right center gap.
That's a little looper down the left field line. That's a fair ball. Both runs are going to come in to score. Ellsbury first, Gardner right behind him. The throw to second is not in time. Alex Rodriguez doubles and drives in two. Single, double, double for the Yankees to start the top of the first.
There's a changeup from Estrada. You see the grip. He's got the whole hand on the baseball, but it dives down and in. Alex is out front, but he's able to stay through that ball long enough. Gets the barrel out there and keeps it fair.
So Ellsbury singled on an 0-2 pitch. Gardner had a lengthy battle with Estrada. He doubled, and now Rodriguez has doubled and driven home two. Mark Teixeira. They mentioned his numbers against the Blue Jays. He has hit 31 home runs and driven in 91 against the Jays. Estrada needs to keep working that outside corner. Ellsbury stretched his hit streak to 8 straight. They got a shot. They got A-Rod hung up. Donaldson will tag out Rodriguez. Good play by Estrada. Great execution by Donaldson. So A-Rod got out into no man's land, and Estrada threw the ball to Donaldson, who took good care of Rodriguez.
Well, Marco worked this to perfection. When he catches this ball immediately, look at the base runner. First you want to run at the base runner, but what he did is he gave up the ball maybe a bit too early to Josh Donaldson, but of course Donaldson with his athleticism chases A-Rod down as he really just gave up.
So that's a big out. It keeps the double play in order. Brian McCann. McCann, as we mentioned, 5 for 11 against Estrada. These two played in the National League, of course. McCann with the Braves, Estrada with the Nationals and the Brewers. Breaking ball. Russell Martin just trying to mix it up against his veteran lineup. He knows them well. He played with the Yankees for 2 years prior to going to Pittsburgh.
And it's difficult. Estrada does not have anything overpowering. That fastball is going to be 89, 90 miles per hour. The changeup is really his best pitch. He'll mix in the curveball, but he has got to locate on the edges of the plate and stay down in the zone.
See where that number 2 pitch was, up out over the plate. Marco needs to get it down a little bit. Two nothing New York. High pop down the right side. This is playable. Travis calls for it in foul territory. Second baseman makes the catch. McCann's retired. 2 down. So now Carlos Beltran, who was the cleanup hitter in last night's game, he drops into the 6th spot tonight. Beltran 1 for 3. He's swinging the bat well. He lined out a couple of times last night. Just over 200 for the season. As we mentioned, he made some minor adjustments, and on this road trip he is 5 for 11. Things starting to come around for the veteran. Beltran lined out to center, lined out to right, and then had a double to right field last night before he struck out against Brett Cecil in the ninth. Looks like a average 1-for-4 night, but he hit the ball much better than 1-for-4.
Well, Carlos Beltran needs to stay healthy.
Beltran has 2 hits in 13 at bats against Estrada. But 2 of those 3 hits he has, 3 for 13, but 2 home runs. Boy, that's a good pitch. He threw everything away and tried to finish off the at bat inside. And that's why catchers really try to work with umpires. You might take one shot at the inside corner, and if you miss, you got to come up with a totally different approach.
And he did it to that last batter. Brian McCann came in there, and McCann got jammed, got the pop up. Did not get the call that time.
This is line to center field. Pilar is there. The inning is over. Actually, not too bad considering they had a single and 2 doubles. They scored just 2. Russell Martin will start things off hitting third tonight. Martin homered on Sunday, had a big pinch hit RBI in last night's game. Russell swinging a hot bat lately. The Blue Jays had some timely hitting last night. They won their first game scoring 3 runs or less all season long. They made those 10 hits stand up. They scored their 3 runs in the 8th inning. Line up Devin Travis, and he has been a pretty good clutch hitter for a young hitter. He's 9 for 26. He's driven in 16 of his 23 runs with runners in scoring position. The cleanup hitter, Edwin Encarnacion, has a 7-game hit streak, and he's starting to show signs that that slow start to his season is about over. No Jose Bautista tonight against Michael Pineda.
26-year-old right-hander's making his 6th start of the season. He leads the Yankees rotation with 3 wins. He also leads the American League and ranks 2nd in all of baseball with a 16 strikeout to walk ratio.
There's a first pitch strike to Devin Travis. The Blue Jays first saw Michael Pineda in 2011 with the Seattle Mariners. Travis, what a glove at first. A 5-time Gold Glover takes a hit away from Devin Travis. Mark Teixeira did not play in last night's game, and they may have missed his presence at first base.
They sure did. Teixeira all over this, and you just said it, 5-time Gold Glover. Garrett Jones in last night, replacing the veteran, given the night off, but could have used him late in that ball game on that ground ball from Russell Martin.
On the Yankees, they've got all the scouting reports. Teixeira was well off the bag at first, knowing that Devin Travis hits a lot of balls his way. This is Josh Donaldson. Donaldson went 2 for 4 in last night's game. Fly ball to right. Beltran backs up a couple of steps and makes the catch. 2 down for Pineda. Let's take a look at the defense behind Michael Pineda. In the outfield, lots of speed with Gardner, Ellsbury, and Beltran. They've all played center field at one time or another in their career. Gregorio Petit giving Chase Headley the night off at third. Gregorius and Drew up the middle. Mark Teixeira at first, and Brian McCann did not play in the game last night. He's back in there tonight with Pineda.
35-year-old first baseman is back in there. We just saw him make a great play on Travis. Back after having the night off last night. They arrived late Sunday night after that game against the Red Sox.
Russell Martin puts a charge in it. Beltran's not going to get it. Martin is on fire with that bat. He'll shut her down at second with a double on the first pitch he sees tonight. He had the pinch hit, base hit in the 8th inning last night. And here he gets his night off with a double to the opposite alley.
Russell's strength is up the middle and the other way, and we've seen him do an awful lot of that lately during this hot streak. Really letting the ball travel, get deeper in his stance. His body was getting out front earlier in the season. He's been much better at staying behind the baseball, driving it in that opposite gap.
Take a look at Russell Martin's season to this point. His first 8 games, he got off to a slow start. Last 16, up over 300. 17 hits in those 16 games. All 5 of his home runs have come in the last 2 weeks.
Starting to feel a little more comfortable.
Edwin Encarnacion, a 7-game hit streak. He's gone 10 for 29 during that stretch. There's that slider, big breaking slider. He'll also cut that fastball. It'll have the same type of movement, but it's a lot flatter pitch.
Tough combination. That little cut fastball will be higher velocity. That'll be up around 90, 91. Slider will be in the low to mid 80s, but much more break and depth to that pitch.
There's that fastball. When the Blue Jays first saw Pineda in 2011, he was throwing 96, 97. He actually won his first big league game against the Blue Jays in Seattle. That was his second major league start. That's a good take right there. It looks so inviting, but at 95, it's tough to catch up to you.
That high fastball looks so good because it's close to your eye level. Edwin does a nice job staying off of that because that's got strike 3 written all over it. Hard to catch up to or get on top of a fastball up there.
You saw the drawing of Encarnacion with Pauly sitting on his right arm. He had the home run cut. Pineda strikes him out. Blue Jays strand a runner at second. We've played an inning at Rogers Center. The New York Yankees lead it 2-0.
the Stanley Cup playoffs with the hockey's best roster of experts. It's Hockey Central pregame every night on Sportsnet. You see Chris Colabello in left field making his first start for the Toronto Blue Jays. When he got the call up last night, the Buffalo Bisons were in the midst of a road trip, meaning all of Colabello's gear was packed and on its way. When he arrived to Toronto, guys, he had nothing. He had no bats, no gloves, no spikes. Fortunately for him, he gave one of his gloves during spring training to Liam Hendriks, who was a fan of the glove and said, I'd like to have it to shag with. So Colabello actually got one of his own gloves by getting it back from Liam Hendriks and had to borrow the rest of the stuff, including a bat tonight, although he's not sure exactly whose bat he's going to use.
That's a good story, Barry, because players are really superstitious about their gloves, and they want a comfortable glove out there, so Colabello feels at least he's got one of his gloves on.
Especially after he's given it to a pitcher, though.
This is Stephen Drew, second baseman. Ball on the strike. 7-8-9 for the Yankees. Well, there's a good changeup, and it is a good one.
That's about as good as it gets right there for Marco. Off speed, great arm speed. Looks like a fastball to a hitter. Same rotation on the baseball, and it just dives down and away from the left-handed hitter.
Just barely peeking over the tip of his glove. Well, that's a good changeup when you can throw it back to back and get a strikeout. One down here in the second.
Marco will just be around 89, 90 miles per hour with that fastball, and he'll throw it over half the time, but it's the changeup that's going to be his money pitch, and we saw a couple of them right there. He'll mix in the curveball. We've seen a few of those tonight. You may see more out of Marco tonight in the starter's role, hoping to get through this lineup a few times.
This is the shortstop, Didi Gregorius. Well, that's a good pitch. The fastball down and away. He's getting that extra ball's width on the outside corner, so they might want to stay there, maybe even expand on it. Well, he let that ball drift out over the plate. He wanted it inside, Martin did, and that ball just drifted back out over the plate. But it's 0-2. It's really important for Estrada to handle the bottom of this order efficiently.
It's really important for him to hit his spots too. Again, not overpowering stuff. When he tries to get it in there, it's got to get in there.
Breaking ball, you saw Martin wanted it down, and he emphasized that with his glove. Another changeup, another strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts for Estrada here in the second.
That's when Estrada is really good. You can just see Russell Martin working with his pitcher right now. This is that pitcher-catcher relationship that we always talk about. See the signals for Martin. He wants that ball down, and that is just a great spot for Estrada to be. When he misses, when he gets hurt, it's because that changeup or his fastball gets elevated, flattens out in the middle of the plate. Just doesn't have overpowering stuff to get away with it.
Number 9 hitter is Gregorio Petit. He's the third baseman tonight, giving Chase Headley the night off. He went around. Ball on the strike. Jose Bautista not in the lineup tonight. He was able to play. He's got that bad shoulder, but he could swing the bat. But John Gibbons wanted to get Justin Smoak in the lineup. He's been sitting quite a while. Chopper to third. Donaldson, a desperation throw, and he throws it into the seats. He's upset at himself, and he didn't have much of a chance. That was kind of a go ahead and concede a base hit. It didn't look like it was going to go foul. But Donaldson had a long run before he launched that throw. That'll be his 4th error of the season.
It's almost one of those unfair errors. Josh really didn't have a play here, I don't think, on Petit. That's a good idea to just eat this ball, but he tries to make an outstanding play. But as soon as he let go of that baseball, he knew, and now he's frustrated at himself for even making that throw.
It's an infield hit, and Donaldson will be charged with the error for the overthrow, and that allows Petit to get to second base. Ellsbury goes after the first pitch. Long run for Colabello, and he overruns it. Chris Colabello, playing in his first game in the big leagues in left field, actually got to it and then heard footsteps of Goins and Donaldson, and Ellsbury has life. That was a big play that didn't get made.
That is a big play with 2 outs to end the inning. Now you're giving Jacoby Ellsbury another life. You see Colabello struggling to get to this baseball, but he actually overran it. He reached back with his glove, but that's when you hear footsteps from other players. When you're the left fielder in that situation, that is your baseball. You have to be the quarterback out there. Be vocal, call the others off.
As we mentioned, he has played 26 games in right field. This is his first start in left field and his first start with the Blue Jays. So Ellsbury, a red-hot hitter, has life. Ellsbury got an 0-2 changeup and singled into center field his first time. Back to back. Go ahead and throw another fastball inside. Called him for a balk, and they'll get that play. It's a base hit, and here comes Petit around to score. The home plate umpire called the balk, but the offensive team certainly has the option of living with the results, and they take the results. Ellsbury, after having that foul fall safely, gets his second hit of the night.
Well, you see the balk call from home plate umpire Ed Hickox, and I think the reason Marco is so frustrated with himself, because you don't need to throw this pitch. You see the frustration. He's yelling in his glove, did it again. But if the hitter gets a hit, or if that team gets a positive result, they can take it. So Marco did not even need to throw that pitch. And I have a feeling that he was in his windup, saw Ed Hickox yell balk, and then he just let up on the pitch and laid it in there. And that's why he's so disturbed with himself.
Ellsbury never lost his focus. He's 2 for 2 tonight. That's his 4th RBI of the season. Petit scores the 3rd run, and Ellsbury steals second. Martin had the ball go off his glove. That's the 10th stolen base for Ellsbury.
We've seen Russell Martin throw the ball so well this year that anytime you see a stolen base against him, it's really one of those chances that he just doesn't even have an opportunity to get Ellsbury right there. If he comes up with that baseball, he's still not throwing him out. He's got such a good jump.
Ellsbury 10 for 15 in steal attempts now. He's in scoring position for Brett Gardner.
And what's very significant here, Buck, that play not made by Colabello out in left field, not necessarily so much the hit in the RBI, of course, by Ellsbury, but also the pitch count of Marco Estrada just continues to climb, and this inning should have been over several pitches ago.
Well, he also gets out of the inning, and Ellsbury didn't have another swing. We mentioned how good the defense was for the Blue Jays last night. It has factored into the Yankees' 3rd run of the game here tonight. Chris Colabello just called up from AAA Buffalo, making his first big league start in left field. The Yankees on the road this season have gone 10-4. It's the second best record in baseball on the road. With a fly ball to deep center field, and Pilar runs it down. They got a great jump and hauled it in the alley in left field. The Yankees add another run in the top of the second. They lead it 3-0.
Jays on Sports. Presented by the 2015 Honda CR-V, Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
Yankees have scored 3 runs early in this ball game, and Blue Jays managed just 1 hit. That was a Russell Martin 2-out single in the first. It'll be Smoke, Pilar, and Colabello for the Blue Jays against Michael Pineda. Pineda in his last start got a no decision against Tampa Bay in New York. He went 5 2/3. Smoke has been in just 4 games since the 20th of April. Made 2 starts on the last road trip, both at Tampa Bay. With Bautista battling that arm problem, Jose has the DH, and Encarnacion's been playing first, and Smoke's playing time has diminished. He was out early hitting with the hitting coaches, and they hit a lot on a curveball machine.
Always liked that drill, hitting off the curveball machine. As hitters, it really teaches you and helps you to sit back, let that ball travel, get deep in your stance so that you don't jump out.
Lined right to the shortstop. Michael Pineda is 26 years old, and he was signed by the Mariners, but he's got a good assortment of pitches.
Well, he's such a big guy, 6'7", 260 pounds. That fastball will be around 90, 91 miles per hour. The slider and the changeup, but that fastball will cut. Everything's hard, everything's heavy and going down. He's gotten a lot of ground balls this season, but one thing you know about Pineda, he is going to pound the strike zone. Only 2 walks. He has struck out 32 this season in his 31 1/3 innings of work.
This is Kevin Pilar. Pilar was 1 for 4 last night. He's hitting .276 for the season. Hits this ball wide of third. What a play by Didi Gregorius. He threw back across his body right on the money to Teixeira to throw out Kevin Pilar. Pilar's a good runner.
Most cases, once this ball gets past the third baseman, that's a base hit for a good runner, but Gregorius cuts the angle down too, but then uses that tremendous arm strength from deep in the hole. Look how he comes and gets this baseball. He doesn't play it deep towards left field. He comes and gets it, uses that arm strength, and gets the Speedy Pilar.
You're right on the money. This is Chris Colabello. He was with the Blue Jays in spring training. He had a good camp. You see, he got off to a great start in AAA Buffalo, and he has hit well the last several years in the minors. He's got some power. You can see those 5 home runs. Colabello went to college in Massachusetts. He wasn't drafted out of college and had a chance to play in the Can-Am League. There's a base hit for Colabello. He loops it to left field. He comes up with a base hit in his first at bat of the season. So two out base hits so far for the Blue Jays, and that looked like it was that changeup that Colabello stayed on.
Good piece of hitting by the big guy, staying on that pitch. That's the one thing with off-speed pitches. When hitters keep that bat through the hitting zone a long time, they've got a chance to catch that ball, even though they're out front and fooled. Colabello does that, gets it off the end of the bat, breaks the bat, but it went down a hero.
Ryan Goins, the shortstop. Goins, with the increased playing time, has started to swing the bat a little bit better. He had a hit in last night's game. Blue Jays had 10 hits against the Yankees. He had a good rip at that fastball. The Blue Jays saw Michael Pineda in the opening series of the season. Pineda took a no decision in that series. Numbers against the Blue Jays for his career: 1-2 in 6 starts. Here at Rogers Center, he's 0-2. This is his 4th career start. Couple of mistakes right there. You see 2 and 3 up out over the plate, and that'll get you in trouble.
We'll see if he changes it up now. We may see that slider or change down in the zone, possibly in the dirt here with the 1-2 count.
Mentioned the last start was a no decision for Pineda. Yankees actually lost in 13 innings to Tampa Bay. Bouncing ball. Fair ball, says the first base umpire, Toby Basner. Ryan Goins is contesting that that's the home plate umpire's call. Now here comes John Gibbons out from the dugout, and he says the same thing. And Gibbons has a perfect vantage point in that Blue Jays dugout.
And Teixeira came and got that ball in front of first base. Usually if the first baseman catches the ball in front of the bag, that's the home plate umpire's call. See, Teixeira's got his foot on the bag, but the ball, when it enters his glove, is in front of the base, closer to home plate. Ed Hickok should be making that call.
Well, Goins will be called out. We will go to the 3rd. New York has a 3-0 lead.
Alex Rodriguez will lead off for the Yankees this inning, and about a week ago he tied Willie Mays for 4th place on the all-time home run list with 660. He has a chance to make history tonight by moving ahead of him with a home run. There are a lot of fans sitting behind me that would love to have that baseball, guys, including myself. So I'm here. I'm ready to go. If it goes out of the ballpark, you can bet that I'm going to make a play on it, Buck, and I'm going to dive over people if I have to.
Don't get hurt, Barry.
I'll try my best.
Barry's a lefty.
I am a lefty, and I've got quite an arm, too, but I will not be throwing it back onto the field.
You better call it.
I will.
Alex Rodriguez steps in, leading off the top of the 3rd. Rodriguez had a 2-run double in the 1st. It was a 3rd hit in a row to start the game. Ellsbury singled. Gardner had a hustle double, and Rodriguez dropped the ball down the left field line for a 2-run double.
That's the curveball that Marco Estrada has got to get down in the zone, or Alex Rodriguez will get his record. That's not where you want to hang a curveball. He's got to get that down, start it around the thighs, and have it end down by the shoe tops.
The ball is hit into center, but not that deep. Pilar is over, and Rodriguez is retired. 1 down. Okay, Barry. See you later. I hope A-Rod holds off until they get back home in New York. I don't want to see a home run here. Mark Teixeira tapped one back to the pitcher. Reached on that fielder's choice as Alex Rodriguez was caught in a rundown between 2nd and 3rd. Marco Estrada came to the Blue Jays from the Milwaukee Brewers in exchange for Adam Lynn. That trade took place last November 1st. One of the first moves the Blue Jays made in the offseason. Ground ball. Travis from the outfield will throw Teixeira out. 2 down. We mentioned Estrada started the season in the rotation for Milwaukee, made 18 starts, and his second to last start last season took place right here on July 1st, Canada Day, when he started against the Blue Jays. He gave up 2 home runs in that game, a 1st inning home run to Jose Bautista and a home run in the 5th to Colby Rasmus. He would lose that game 4-1. He made one more start, and then he was bumped to the bullpen in Milwaukee.
That deal made soon after the 2014 season, and that was the first thing that Blue Jays did to try to shore up that bullpen.
McCann goes down and smokes the ball into right. We mentioned he has faced Estrada in the past. That's his 6th hit in 13 at-bats.
And that's the changeup again from Estrada. Very good piece of hitting right here by McCann. That's not a bad pitch at all by Estrada, down in the zone where we talk about he needs to be, but by being down there, it's a good piece of hitting, but it's a single, and that keeps McCann in the ballpark.
Rodriguez talking to the hitting coach, Jeff Petlin. Petlin in his first year with the Yankees, a long-time hitting coach. Carlos Beltran chases that first pitch. Beltran's had a terrific career. He's got 2,338 hits. Started his career with the Kansas City Royals. Two players that have had long and distinguished careers that you don't really relate to the Royals, Beltran and Johnny Damon. Two youngsters that came through their system and developed into all-star caliber players. And Kansas City's doing it again right now.
Are they ever? Very nice nucleus.
0-2 to Beltran. He protected that plate, got a piece of it.
Kansas City starting right where they left off last season. challenging those Tigers in the AL Central.
Kansas City got some good news today. They will bring back their closer, Greg Holland, tomorrow. Alex Rios, who broke a hand, will be probably a couple more weeks before he returns. There's a strikeout. That's the third strikeout. That ends the top of the third. Estrada puts up a 0. Now the Blue Jays need to go to work against Pineda.
It has become a regular on Tuesday nights. It's when Greg Zahn takes over Sportsnet to answer your questions on Twitter. Tonight during the 5th inning, tweet your questions to @Sportsnet, and Greg Zahn will pass his young little beautiful daughter off to the mother and allow himself to get on the line to answer your questions. Can Zahnie wave to us? Can the little girl wave? Maybe not. Anyway, so Greg Zahn on Twitter, 5th inning, to answer your questions. I'm still just heartbroken I didn't catch that ball, guys. It was...
You had to run onto the field and catch it.
Am I not allowed to do that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Send him to New York.
Ezequiel Carrera will lead things off for the Blue Jays. Carrera's gotten off to a decent start. 4 for 7 in his limited at-bats. Joe, once again, the Blue Jays lineup tonight just reflects how little the opening day roster means. You got two guys that didn't break with the club playing in left and right in Carrera and Colabello. And you just have to be big. You have to have backups at every position. You have to have a deep organization. Carrera was brought in with the thought that he would be maybe the 4th outfielder on the big league club. And Colabello, he as well as a backup power hitting right-hander, maybe play a little first, maybe DH, but now because of injuries and poor performance, they're both here in the starting lineup tonight.
Yeah, I think you said it. The most important thing is depth, but to have Colabello for the first time tonight in left field, and we've already seen that hurt this club. But you want to have depth, and you want to have guys like a Colabello, like a Carrera. These are the right guys. You want guys with big league experience that have had a little bit of success that can fill in.
There's a leadoff walk. That's a good start for the Jays. So Devin Travis, the leadoff man, will step in. And you take a look at where Travis ranks among American League second basemen. He's right at the top in all the categories.
He's just been absolutely outstanding. He came with the reputation as an offensive second baseman, but he has exceeded all of those expectations for John Gibbons. Just a nice, short, compact swing. Does not try to do too much, but now will come the true test for Devin as he's been around the league now.
He's getting a steady diet of breaking balls, and what he has to do is just identify them and try to lay off.
That's the easiest thing to do, is if he can identify the spin on them, lay off, make them be in the strike zone. He's very good in the strike zone. We've seen him starting to chase those off-speed pitches, but the books are out now. Scattering reports are out there.
That walk to Carrera, just the 3rd walk that Pineda has issued this season. This is his 6th start. He's been a strike throwing machine. So the Blue Jays need to take advantage of it. This is interesting here. When you think about Pineda, you think about him being a hard thrower and wild. But when you look at some of the strike throwers in the game, Pineda's right there, 5th on the list.
Well, those are number ones. Those are aces of staffs. Price, Sale, Hernandez, Iwakuma, Pineda right up there. And as we said, coming into tonight, 2 walks. That's the 3rd right there against 32 strikeouts in 31 1/3 innings this season so far.
In 2011, Pineda finished 2nd in strikeouts per 9 innings to the Blue Jays' Brandon Morrow. Breaking ball upstairs. It's interesting now with Travis hitting and a runner at first how Teixeira has to hold the runner on. You'll remember in the 1st inning, Travis hit a hot shot. Teixeira was way off the bag and made an easy play of it. There's a big hole now for Travis.
You can bet Travis will be trying to shoot something that way. Now to combat that, we'll see if McCann goes inside with the fastball, if he stays away with the slider.
Slider, but he didn't get it away. Pineda knew he gave Travis a pretty good pitch to hit.
Yeah, the pitchers will go slider in that situation. As a catcher calling a game, the reason you go slider in that situation, not to make it easy for him to go to the right side, but that you can catch him out front. When a hitter's out front, generally they come around the baseball and hit it to the pull side on the ground. So he's trying to get a ground ball. Double play possibility here out of Travis.
There goes Carrera, and Travis fouls it off. Carrera can run a little bit. He had 43 steals a year ago in AAA Toledo. They had 10 steals for a major league high back in 2011 playing with the Indians. So he brings that speed dimension, part of his game. Bouncing ball. Gregorius goes to second for 1. Back to first. Not in time. Travis hustled down the line to stay out of the double play.
Well, nice job by Pineda and the catcher, Brian McCann, in this situation. They went right back at it. Clearly the book on Travis is the slider, but you see the fingers on the side of the baseball. That's that slider spin. Travis is out front. When a hitter's out front, their upper body gets out over the baseball. You come around it, get that weak contact to the left side. Almost a double play ball.
Stephen Drew just getting used to playing second. Looked like he took a little time to get that ball out of his glove. Josh Donaldson now with Devin Travis at first. First pitch changeup.
See that movement, just tremendous movement on that changeup. It's almost got action like a split finger fastball, the way it goes down so much. And again, I think that's what contributes to the ground balls that Pineda's been getting this season.
Well, Pineda learned from the master, Felix Hernandez in Seattle. Donaldson went around. 0-2. Donaldson hit an 0-2 slider in last night's game in the 9th inning, in the 8th inning, part of that 3-run 8th. Pineda's a big man. He's 6'7". As we mentioned, he had shoulder surgery, so that's robbed him of some of his velocity. Change up down in the dirt.
And when you're 6'7", if you can take advantage of that leverage by staying on top of the baseball and really working downhill, you hear pitching coaches talk about that all the time. Pineda can do that from way up on that mound, and everything's working down to the hitter. It's a tough angle for a hitter to square the baseball up.
The Yankees, with as many good arms as they really have become a breaking ball pitching team. Donaldson's aware of that. No problem at all taking that inside fastball.
Josh is such a student of the game. He understands what a pitcher's trying to do to him. He will play that chess match. He'll look for a pitch a hole at bat. We talked about it last night. Sitting on a slider an entire at bat. He said, if I got a fastball, I was not swinging at it. He could have laid it right in there.
This is popped up. Second baseman Stephen Drew backs up behind second base, makes the catch.
Championship-winning Honda CRF 450R for those who dare to ride red.
Russell Martin doubled on the first pitch he saw tonight. Hit it to the alley in right center. Martin's average now at .247.
Travis getting a pretty healthy lead over there with 1 foot on the carpet.
There's another drive down the left field line. That's going to go up against the wall. Travis is headed for third. He's being stopped there. Martin will end up with his second double of the night. He's on fire right now. With 2 outs, Travis got the stop sign at third because you got Encarnacion, the lead cleanup man, coming up next.
Oh, another nice piece of hitting by Russell Martin. He's all over this slider, but he hit it so hard, and Brett Gardner did a nice job retrieving that ball in the left field corner. Gets it right to his cutoff man. I think Luis Rivera made the right decision. With 2 outs, you like to be aggressive, but you've got Edwin coming up. You hate to get thrown out at the plate to end the inning.
You don't want to run into an out with your big bat coming up next. Now Brian McCann with a short visit to discuss Edwin Encarnacion with Pineda. Edwin struck out to end the first.
And that's all about reminding Pineda that they've got the open base. How do you want to pitch Edwin right here? If we do fall behind, let's not give in. Rather start with Justin Smoke and a fresh count.
Two outs. Runners at second and third. Popped up over near the seats. Teixeira with a long run and can't make the play. He got over there, got close to it, but it was beyond his reach, and Encarnacion will have life. That happened to Ellsbury earlier in the game when they couldn't make a play on a pop foul, and he got an RBI single. Later on.
Teixeira's a 5-time Gold Glover, but that's about as tough a play as they come right there, and he had to navigate that short wall over there as well. He did that by sliding. Looked like he got a piece of leather on it, but very difficult when you're running away from the baseball like that.
Edwin, now they're going to talk it over again, and I think this is what you talked about. Let's don't make any mistakes here.
Well, I think this is a point in the game, too. You are not going to let Edwin beat you. It's only the third inning, but on several occasions you get into big situations. You want to win or lose with your best pitch, but you also don't want one of the top players in this situation. It's Edwin to beat you. With an open base, Smoke on deck.
Travis reached on a fielder's choice. Martin hit a double. Now the Blue Jays have hit doubles in 25 consecutive games. He had a good hack at that pitch down and away, but it was a tough pitch to put in play.
It's a tough pitch, and that's where Edwin is trying to do a little bit too much, and we've seen him get in trouble this way. He's been swinging the bat better lately, but that right there is an example of trying to get something done, and it's just not there. He saw fastball, so he went hacking, but that's off the plate. Very difficult pitch to square up.
Edwin has hit .345 over his hitting streak. There's a drive to left field. Gardner over. This ball right near the wall. Gardner has it, cradles it, and holds on. The ball tried to pop out of his glove. He snow-coned it, but made the catch in fair territory down in the left field corner. The ball was toward the end of the bat. Watch Gardner stay with it and end the inning.
On TV, that does not mean you have to miss an inning. Catch every game live on the radio with the best broadcast team in the business. Jerry Howarth, Joe Siddall, Jeff Blair, and Mike Wilner on Sportsnet, the Fan 590, and making a guest appearance up in the booth tonight is Sportsnet 590, the Fan's morning show host, Dean Blundell, and that's Dwayne Ward filling in for Joe Siddall, who's doing a terrific job with you this week, Buck.
He sure is. We're glad to have him here, and good to have Wardo back in Toronto working with Jerry out. Stephen Drew will start things off for the Yankees in the fourth. Shows bunt, takes a ball. Drew struck out his only time up. Estrada had back-to-back strikeouts in the second. He got Drew and Gregorius to start the inning. Drew has gotten a steady diet of those changeups from Estrada.
And when you can locate them down there, you are going to have success. Second and third pitches both down in the zone.
Just missing that inside pitch, and the Yankees aren't offering at it. It's close. Tough pitch to take with two strikes.
And that's pitching right there. Nice job by Russell Martin on his game calling, trying to get in there. He's coming back in there again.
Well, he got in on the hands of Drew, even though it wasn't exactly where they wanted it. 91 miles an hour, but I like that. Back-to-back fastballs inside.
Absolutely, especially after that change down and away. Come back in there, speed up his bat with that foul ball right there, and let's see if Russell goes back, change up away again.
Off the end of the bat, Travis comes after it, makes the play. 1 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Fans here at the ballpark getting all their merchandise at the Jays shop. See, here's Didi Gregorius, the shortstop. Gregorius made a terrific defensive play in the second, fielding a ball in the hole and throwing out Kevin Pillar. Marco Estrada, we mentioned he grew up in California. He went to community college and then he went to Long Beach State in 2005. Of course, Long Beach State's always had a terrific baseball program, and he had some pretty interesting teammates while he was there as a junior. That ball is driven to left field. Colabello is there, and there are 2 down. While at Long Beach State that season in 2005, he had a fellow named Troy Tulowitzki playing shortstop and a fellow named Evan Longoria playing third. Pretty good college team. He also had in the rotation alongside him Cesar Ramos, the left-handed reliever that was with Tampa Bay, has since gone to San Diego. Long Beach State, they've always had a good baseball program.
I guess you'd pitch to contact with those 2 guys on the left side of the infield.
Hit it to the left side, that's for sure. This is Gregorio Petit. He scored the 3rd Yankee run. He reached on an infield hit to third base, and then Donaldson threw wildly, and Petit ended up at second.
Keep an eye on that Blue Jays bullpen. I don't know how long Estrada is going to go. He's at 60 pitches, 68 pitches right now, but he is really throwing the baseball very well. He's doing a nice job. Some real bad luck, these 3 Yankee runs that have scored.
Off the end of the bat, Ryan Goins throws across the diamond. Good inning for Marco Estrada. He retires the side in order in the 4th. It'll be Justin Smoke, Kevin Pillar, and Chris Colabello.
Jays on Sports. Presented by the 2015 Honda CR-V, Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
You guys got to get your act together there. Jays. Let's get in line now. We move to the bottom of the fourth. Good crowd on hand here tonight at Rogers Center. Michael Pineda has been a tough customer. The Jays have just 3 hits. Russell Martin has a pair of doubles. Colabello has the other hit, a single. You see that little bitty cut on that fastball. It's 94 miles an hour, but that cut is kind of a natural cut that the Yankees have noticed. He didn't always cut the ball, but after he had his shoulder surgery, that ball started to cut.
And he's a big man, big old hands, long fingers, cover a lot of that baseball. But a lot of times you come back from that surgery and maybe you get on the side of the baseball just a bit, change your mechanics, and all of a sudden you find something. If you can cut the baseball at 94, that's a nice little weapon.
Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, said it's just kind of unique how those shoulder surgeries create a little different movement. Smoke strikes out. That's only the second strikeout for Pineda so far. He elevated that fastball to get the strikeout. Lots of great hockey action on now, so check it out. Blackhawks at Wild. Game 3. But come on back. Remember, the Blue Jays struck late to win the opener 3-1 last night. Kevin Pillar hits it in the air to center field. Ellsbury on the run over in the alley, makes the catch. 2 down. The Blue Jays lean heavily on the home run, and they'll be challenged to hit a home run tonight against Pineda. He's allowed only 2 home runs this season. 1 to Adam Jones and 1 to Steven Souza. The Blue Jays have hit 5 home runs against Pineda in the past. Bautista has 1 of those home runs, but he's not in the lineup. The other Blue Jays that have homered off of Pineda, they're all gone. Adam Lynn's in Milwaukee. He's got 2 career home runs against Pineda. Brett Laurie is in Oakland. He's got 1. And Eric Thames is in Korea. He has the other. Chris Colabello lost his footing on that big hack.
He does not get cheated. That's his big swing, very aggressive swing. Loses his balance right at the very end. Thinks it's something in the dirt. Did a little landscaping.
Off-speed pitch to Hopper to third. Petit throws to Teixeira. Quick inning. Just 7 pitches for Pineda. We'll go to the 5th. The Yankees have a 3-0 lead. Now it's time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zong. He is swinging a hot bat. He's already 2 for 2 tonight. He's extended his hit streak to 8 straight games. And Joe, when you look at his numbers this season, he's made a dramatic improvement hitting the off-speed pitch.
I think a dramatic improvement, and that comes from a dramatic adjustment. What good hitters will do when you're hitting for high average, you're covering a lot of pitches, and what you're doing is you're keeping that bat through the hitting zone. We've talked about it all right tonight a couple of times. And when you keep that bat through the hitting zone, even the off-speed pitches, you can be fooled, you can be up front, but you're keeping that barrel through the zone. We saw him do it in his first at-bat tonight, hitting that 0-2 changeup. Line drive base hit right back up the middle, covering a lot of pitches.
Ellsbury had a good first season with the Yankees. He had 27 doubles, 5 triples, 16 homers, and 70 RBIs. You see he's hitting for a high average, but he's yet to really turn those hits into production. Just 1 home run and 4 RBIs. Pops this one out of play.
And almost every big league hitter can handle the fastball. That's why they're big leaguers. Even guys that get called up, they can hit the fastball in the minor leagues. Now they come up and are challenged. What we've seen from Ellsbury is a good adjustment at handling the secondary pitches where he's obviously been attacked, and he's answered that bell.
He's 3 for 3. Everything out over the plate. He is right on. 3 straight hits and 3 at-bats for Ellsbury.
When you're locked in, you're hitting everything, but this is a pretty good pitch to hit right here by Ellsbury. Fastball out over the plate, but he doesn't try to do too much with it. Keeps that bat again on plane, driving it right back through the box.
Jeff Francis appears to be ready in the Blue Jays bullpen. He was up and throwing earlier. Estrada has thrown 71 pitches. We kind of assumed he would be in that 75 to 80 range. That ball is in the dirt. Ellsbury stole a base in the second. It looks like he wants to run again here.
These hitters at the top of the lineup will communicate with one another on occasion too. They have already probably had a conversation in the dugout where Ellsbury tells Gardner, if I'm going to go on one of the first 2 pitches. Maybe take one for me.
Not running here. 2-0. Jacoby Ellsbury at first had seasons of 50 stolen bases and 70 stolen bases in back-to-back years in 2008 and 2009. That ball is driven to center field. Pilar got a good break, runs it down, gets it back to the infield quickly, and Ellsbury will retreat.
Nice job again in center field by Kevin Pilar. Watch the jump he gets from center field. He's shading Gardner to left center just a bit, but right off the bat he gets that quick first step, and then with that speed covers ground in a hurry. First step is so important.
Kevin Pilar plays off the middle infielders. He will watch the middle infielders as they shift according to the pitches, and he will take that information and make the appropriate adjustments. This is Alex Rodriguez. He is 1-4-2. There goes the runner. Ball's in the dirt. Martin didn't have a shot. Ellsbury with his second stolen base of the night.
So frustrating as a catcher. Russell Martin's behind the plate. He knows Ellsbury wants to try to steal a bag right here. He's anticipating it. It was a changeup from Estrada. You can still throw a runner out with a changeup, but it's in the dirt. Your only chance is to come up and pick that clean. Very difficult play for Russell.
And that's exactly how you go about it. You take a shot at scooping it and hope you come up with it. Now Estrada wants to talk it over with Martin about the signs with Ellsbury at second.
And what Martin did so well is in trying to pick it, he kept that glove almost trying to make that a short hop so that if he didn't come up with it, the ball did not go to the backstop.
Remember, Estrada committed a balk in the second inning, but the Yankees declined to take that balk as Ellsbury singled and drove in a run on the pitch. Rodriguez fouls it into the seats. The Yankees are the only team in baseball with 3 hitters with 6 or more home runs. Alex Rodriguez, Mark Teixeira, and Chris Young. Young not in the starting lineup. Martin with a snap throw. I'm not sure Travis saw it coming. Kind of caught him off guard, but he's able to knock it down.
Russell Martin having a word with home plate umpire Ed Hickox. There's a little bit of a delay there by Martin. He just came up firing, but see, Devin Travis was not even looking.
Yeah, he looked away after Martin didn't come out of the chute throwing. He kind of glanced down, and next thing you knew, the ball was right at his feet.
Sometimes a catcher and a middle infielder will have a pick play on, but that was no play at all. Russell just came up, thought he had a shot at Ellsbury.
Off the end of the bat, Goins has to wait on it. Throws out Rodriguez. Ellsbury moves to third. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Bartolo Colon, what a season he's put together. 4 hits over 5 innings. He hasn't walked a batter, and he's struck out 5. Teixeira with a deep drive to right. This ball is deep and gone. Mark Teixeira, his 10th home run of the season. A 2-run homer here in the 5th. His 32nd home run against the Blue Jays.
Well, we talked about the long ball being an issue for Marco Estrada, and that's going to be it for the evening. He gave up 29 last season that led the major leagues. 27 of those came as a starter with the Brewers.
Looks like a fastball, and Teixeira with that significant uppercut swing goes deep for the 10th time. Estrada pitches into the 5th, but he'll turn things over to Jeff Francis with 2 outs, and the Yankees up 5-0. His 10th home run of the season, and that ties him with his teammate on the switch hitting home run all-time leaderboard. Mickey Mantle, Eddie Murray, Chipper Jones, and then Beltran and Teixeira with 373 apiece. They're both very powerful switch hitters. Jeff Francis to Brian McCann.
Francis with a 5.23 ERA this season in 5 games for the Blue Jays. Struck out 14 in his 10 1/3 innings of work.
This is chopped off the plate. Francis stays with it. It'll flip to Smoke to end the inning. He retires McCann. But the Yankees get 2 more in their half of the 5th and knock Marco Estrada out of the game.
Fans of Blue Jays wrap up their series with the Yankees tomorrow, and then it's the Red Sox coming to town May 8th through 10th. A great month of baseball here at the Rogers Center, with the Angels coming in May 18th to 21st, the Mariners May 22nd to 24th, followed by the White Sox May 25th to 27th. And please note that final game of the series on the 27th has now been moved to a 12:37 start from a 7:07 start. For Blue Jays tickets, go to bluejays.com. Buck?
Thank you, Barry. The reason that last game in the White Sox series has been moved is because Chicago has to travel to Baltimore to make up those 2 games they lost when Baltimore had to postpone those games because of the civil disobedience in Baltimore around the ballpark. So that's why that game has been moved to an afternoon game. It'll be Goins, Carrera, and Devin Travis against Michael Pineda. The Yankees have a 5-0 lead. The Blue Jays have not played in a game that included a shutout. They haven't been shut out, and they haven't shut out an opponent.
They'd like to keep that streak alive here. Pineda pounds the strike zone anyway, but with a 5-0 lead, I think we're going to see him continuing to just pour strikes into Brian McCann's mitt.
Good quality strike out on the outside corner. Larry Rothschild, the Yankees pitching coach, believes that Pineda's got a lot more in the tank. He started out 3-0, had a couple of no decisions, but believes that he's going to continue to make quality pitches and improve on his location. Goins strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Pineda. 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th. Larry Rothschild, longtime pitching coach, former manager of the Tampa Bay Rays, first manager in franchise history for Tampa Bay. He and Joe Girardi have worked very well together. This is Ezequiel Carrera. He walked against Pineda to start the 3rd.
There's that little cut again on that fastball. That one at 92 miles per hour, but still got a little cut. If Carrera goes to swing at that, that's going to be all over his hands.
Look out. That bat into that camera bay outside of the Yankees dugout. Everybody looks to be okay. Got to pay attention down there. Never know what might fly into that area. Foul balls, bats.
Another great off-speed pitch here by Pineda, and Carrera again is just out front. You get so far out front and fooled. Well, that just went flying out of his hands.
Now it's 2-2.
Nice job laying off that pitch right there by Carrera. That's the one that Goins just finished striking out on. Good sharp slider with that downward rotation towards the back foot of the hitter.
He couldn't lay off of that one. That slider in the dirt. McCann goes to Teixeira to complete the strikeout.
The championship-winning Honda CRF 450R for those who dare to ride red.
One of the great shots in the world. CN Tower right next to Rogers Center. Sun going down. Starting to warm up a little bit, and hopefully maybe even on his homestand we'll have the roof open. That'd be nice. Devin Travis is really being tested as the league has picked up on the fact that tough to get a fastball by him, but he has chased some breaking balls down and away.
Pineda just seems to be feeling it right now too. He's getting in a bit of a groove. A couple extra runs there to make that a 5-0 Yankees lead behind him, and he's just looking like he's locking it in.
There's a cutter that missed. It's 3-1.
Both the cutter and slider are so tough because they look like a fastball until they enter that hitting zone. You go to swing at it and they just disappear.
Ball is drilled to center. Ellsbury on the run. He'll watch this one slam off the wall. Travis will stop at second with a 2-out double. That's the third 2-out double the Blue Jays have hit tonight against Michael Pineda.
Well, Pineda's kicking himself a little bit for falling behind in the count to Travis, but this is what you can do with a 5-0 lead. You can go ahead and throw a fastball out over the plate, make the hitter use the big part of the ballpark. If Devin Travis wants to hit this ball over 400 feet, you'll give them the one run. But with 2 outs, he just bounces it off the wall, and Pineda's going to work with the 2-out double.
That's the 7th double for Travis, along with his 7 home runs. He's among the leaders in the American League in total bases. He now has 58. That ties him with Adam Jones and Miguel Cabrera. Josh Donaldson also with 58 total bases. Donaldson fouls it out of play. It's 0-2.
And interesting, we talked about Donaldson last night sitting on some sliders. Different pitcher, different night, with Pineda tonight getting a lot of fastballs, just changing their philosophy, their approach to Donaldson. See that fastball right there? If he was looking for it, he's late, unable to get to it.
Changeup. 1-2. Inside. We mentioned the 2-out doubles. Martin has a pair of 2-out doubles, one in the first, one in the third, and now Devin Travis a 2-out double here in the fifth. Those are the only base runners they've had in scoring position against Pineda.
Just not able to get a whole lot going. We don't see too many of those backup sliders that we just saw. See if he comes back with it against Donaldson.
On the ground. Petit at third. That ends the inning. The Blue Jays are 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. We go to the sixth, and here comes the Home Hardware Cleanup Crew, brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products.
MLB.com At Bat is the official app of Major League Baseball. Listen to live audio, follow games pitch by pitch, and enjoy in-game video highlights. The app is available on the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, and Android. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more. On the app tonight, the Boston Red Sox, desperately in need of some good pitching, are getting it tonight in the form of Rick Porcello, who pitched so well against the Jays. 5 2/3, now 6 scoreless innings against Tampa.
Outstanding effort by Porcello. He hasn't walked a batter and struck out 5. Unfortunately for the Red Sox, Drew Smyly's doing just about the same thing for Tampa Bay.
And that's a pretty good pitching matchup.
Tampa Bay got some bad news today. Alex Cobb, who was in the midst of a rehab assignment, they found that he might have a torn ulnar collateral ligament, which could lead to Tommy John surgery.
The Rays were hoping to get Cobb back this month sometime, at least towards the end of May. That could be devastating news for their rotation.
Jeff Francis into the ballgame in relief of Marco Estrada. Got the only man he faced in the fifth to end the inning. Well, there are so many injuries to pitchers around baseball, and they're so important to the success of a team. That's fouled into the seats. Colorado. We got some bad news about their closer, Adam Ottavino. He might have to undergo season-ending Tommy John surgery. Curveball bounced in the dirt. Full count to Carlos Beltran leading off the sixth for New York. Stephen Drew is on deck. Big hop for Donaldson. One down. Marco Estrada started for the Blue Jays, and overall, you have to say it's not a bad outing. He goes 4 2/3. Scatters 8 hits over his outing, 4 earned runs. He could have fared better and actually minimized the damage in the first inning. He allowed 2 runs in the first, after single, double to start the inning.
Thought threw the ball very well tonight. A little bit of bad luck there. Those first 3 runs really were tough luck, and then the 2-run homer by Teixeira really the result of Marco probably fatigue, and he was ready to get out of there. His highest pitch count before tonight was that last start, or the time he came in relief at Boston last week, was 48 pitches.
Steve Delabar has not yet pitched. He just joined the Blue Jays on this homestand in yesterday's game. Francis with a good curveball.
Francis was a starter. He'll be around 87 miles per hour. Curveball, slider, and changeup. He made 1 start in Buffalo, but he's come up here and provided some length to John Gibbons. He's worked 2 innings in 3 of his 5 games.
You saw Pete Walker talking to the bullpen coach, Dane Johnson, and they've got the lineup. They both have a clipboard with the lineups, and they'll communicate as to who Delabar might face in this situation. There's a base hit over Donaldson's glove into left field for Stephen Drew.
And what that will do down in the bullpen for a pitcher warming up too is he can start visualizing, start planning how he would attack the particular hitter that he's going to come in to face. It's a nice thing to know for a pitcher down there. Have a game plan executed down the bullpen before you come into the ballgame.
Delabar did not make the Blue Jays out of spring training. He got off to a good start in AAA, pitched in 9 games for the Bisons. This is Didi Gregorius, the shortstop, 0 for 2. Slow curveball in there. Strike 2.
Francis has struck out 14 batters coming into tonight in his 10 1/3 innings of work.
Jeff Francis, of course, is from Vancouver, British Columbia. He played with the Yankees last year, appeared in 2 games. Tough pitch to lay off of. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the 6th. New York scored 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and 2 in the 5th. They lead at 5-0. Bouncing ball. Goins at short. Will step on the bag. Go to first. Double play. Another good defensive play. Goins, the shortstop, took the double play himself. Will go to the bottom of the 6th. Blue Jays need to get something going. Russell Martin will lead things off. catchers in all of baseball in Brian McCann of the Yankees and Russell Martin of the Blue Jays, both signed with their respective teams as free agents, and they have both played very well throughout their careers.
Both big contracts and both big leaders on their clubs. Russell Martin was brought in here to guide this young pitching staff, the exception of Burley and Dickey, but Brian McCann, of course, tremendous offensive player, and you may say Martin a little bit more on the defensive side, what he brings. McCann more on the offensive side, but two good two-way catchers, both very good at what they do and leading their ball clubs.
Every good team has a good catcher as the backbone of their ball club, and I think both the Yankees and the Blue Jays are in good shape behind the dish right now. Martin, Encarnacion, and Smoke will try to get something going against Pineda. He's allowed just 4 hits. Martin has 2 of those, both doubles. Brian McCann has been an all-star 6 times, 7 times, and he's won the Silver Slugger Award 5 times for the best offensive player at his position. Russell Martin has been an all-star 3 times, and he's won a Gold Glove. That changeup is so effective for the same reason as Estrada's changeup is effective. He's got great arm action on it.
And that's the biggest factor of the pitcher. If you can have that same arm speed, but also the rotation of the baseball looks like a fastball, very deceptive to a hitter.
Martin had a good rip. Russell's feeling good at the plate now. Obviously, it's a .256 average with a couple of hits tonight. And he told us in Cleveland that he's been choking up on the bat because his 2-strike approach feels very comfortable right now, and he doesn't think that he's lost any power.
See him just up off the knob of that bat right there, and some hitters will do that. They're struggling and they go back to their 2-strike approach, maybe choking up just a hair. Sometimes they'll widen that stance just a hair too. The idea is have less movement and be shorter to the baseball with your swing. They start having success and they say, why not just hit that way all the time?
Stays on that breaking ball and stays alive. It generally takes a while for a player to make a dramatic adjustment like that. You've got to have a lot of confidence.
That's an error.
Ace, come on, Ace.
Make a play.
Big hands.
Pause. Claws.
There's that cutter. Martin strikes out, 1 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. For Mookie Betts, that's his 3rd home run of the season, and that gives the Red Sox a 1-0 lead. Encarnacion has a 7-game hit streak. He's been shut out so far for 2. Edwin looking as if he's thinking, well, he can't have the inside and the outside.
I was about to say that's a great pitch by Pineda, but it's really a great pitch when you get it called a strike by home plate umpire Ed Hickox. Pineda has just been so good tonight with all of his pitches, keeping these Jays hitters off balance. A few hitters have gotten to them, but they haven't been able to string any hits together to do any damage.
Lays off that breaking ball. Pineda coming into this game at Rogers Center 0-2 in 3 starts prior to tonight. We mentioned in April of 2011 in Seattle, Michael Pineda beat Ricky Romero in a 3-2 ball game. Romero threw 8 innings, a complete game, and Pineda was credited with his first big league win. There's another former Mariner on deck, Justin Smoke. Popped over the Yankee dugout, well out of play.
And that's the pitch right there that when you can see Edwin shaking his head right there. He missed his pitch. He got a fastball right out over the plate. That's the pitch you have to do damage on against Pineda, because you're not going to get many of them. And Edwin knew it. When you miss that pitch, now he's in trouble.
Up the middle, base hit for Encarnacion. Just the 5th hit for the Jays.
The championship-winning Honda CRF 450R for those who dare to ride red.
Justin Smoke lined out to the shortstop and struck out tonight. Smoke has a give-me base hit down the third base line if he wants it, if he just squares and bunts it.
Wouldn't you practice your bunting just to do that?
Pulls it to first. Teixeira steps on the bag for one. Encarnacion is in a rundown. He'll be tagged out. Teixeira stepped on first to retire Smoke. They throw to second to end the inning. Steve Delabar will come into the ball game for the first time this year. Ace is on his game or not. He got over the fence but dropped the ball.
It's that time of the night where we have a look at the big comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone, and sitting in them tonight are guests of TD. Now today, share a photo or video showing your Blue Jays spirit by using hashtag TD Tuesday and tag at Blue Jays for a chance to win. And over in the Blue Jays Community Clubhouse are folks from St. Albans Boys and Girls Clubs. Great to have the kids at the ball game here tonight, Buck.
It sure is always great to see those kids, and now they recognize that they're on TV. They can say hi, Mom, like everybody else. This is Steve Delabar making his first appearance of the season.
Just recalled from AAA Buffalo in 9 games for the Bisons in Buffalo. He was 2-0, just gave up 1 earned run over 9 innings of work. It was thought that Steve was going to make this club out of spring training, did not, but he made his way back.
Velocity has been a concern in the last couple of years. Delabar was an all-star in 2013. He was selected by the fans in the final player vote. 2 Hopper to Donaldson. Petit is retired, 1 down. The interesting part of that All-Star game for Steve Delabar was the fact that he got to share the bullpen with Mariano Rivera.
How about that for an honor? We saw Delabar last year. The velocity came down just a bit. That split finger pitch of his that he really uses as his bread and butter as a strikeout pitch, it was up in the zone a little bit. And those were the struggles he was having. A little better in spring training. The numbers were not bad, but Blue Jays did not think that that warranted starting the season in the bullpen. But he's been very good in AAA and has certainly earned this opportunity.
Kobe Ellsbury's had a perfect night. 3 for 3, scored 2 runs, has 2 stolen bases, and drove in a run. There's that splitter. Bounce to Smoke. He flips to Delabar. 2 quick outs for Delabar here in the 7th.
Like anyone with that split finger pitch, it has to be down in the zone. Nice job that time by Delabar, catching Jacoby Ellsbury way out front, getting him to roll it over to the pull side.
This could be a real big boost for the Blue Jays if Delabar could recapture the form he had in 2013. He was good as anybody in the league. First half of the season, carried that into late August.
Fastball be around 93, 94 miles per hour. The slider and that split finger. 95. Good to see that arm strength from Delabar.
Brett Gardner doubled his first time up. He's 1 for 3 on the night. The Yankees are up 5-0 as they bat top of the 7th. Just up. He saw Girardi was studying Delabar just to see which Delabar this is. Is this the 13 Delabar or the 14 Delabar? Looks a little bit like the 13 Delabar.
The Blue Jays really need that 13 Delabar back. I think going into this offseason, the Blue Jays were anticipating, we talked about going out and getting Marco Estrada early in the offseason. They didn't do a whole lot else in terms of major league relief pitchers. They're hoping for Delabar to be one of those arms to make a comeback.
And Delabar loses Gardner, a 2-out walk. With this appearance tonight, Delabar becomes the 17th pitcher the Blue Jays have used already this season. Last year they used 27 in total.
Well, that speaks a lot to how this bullpen and the rotation have been performing. Struggles throughout this pitching staff early in the season, and that's what happens. You have to change things up.
You hear the crowd reacting to Alex Rodriguez being announced as the batter. 2 outs. Gardner at first. Two-run double in the first got the Yankees off and running. They'd had a single run in the second and 2 more in the 5th. 5-0 New York.
Blue Jays have had runs like this offensively. Of course, up there all of Major League Baseball in scoring runs, but they've had games where they'll score 10 and 12, and then other games much like this one when they face a good pitcher. That's the battle that offense has to.
Ball on the strike to Rodriguez, the DH tonight. Up and in. Delmar got 2 quick outs and then walked Gardner. Now he falls behind Rodriguez. Fly ball to right. Ezekiel Carrera comes in a few steps. Delmar has an inning under his belt. Blue Jays are down by 5. It'll be Pilar, Colabello, and Goins against Pineda when we come back.
Signing autographs on Friday, May 8th from noon to 1 p.m. at the J Shop, location at Toronto Eaton Center, level 1. 1 autograph per person per player. Nobody lining up there before 10 o'clock, and there is a limit to the first 150 people. And guys, speaking of Michael Saunders, John Gibbons told us today, not only did he have his knee drained yesterday, but he also received a cortisone shot. At this point, Gibbons says he is available to pinch hit if needed. But that's one of the reasons Colabello is up here tonight. And also news that Steve Tollefson cleared waivers today, and we may see him back with the Blue Jays sooner rather than later.
Kevin Pillar goes after the first pitch to Sheriff. In foul ground, makes the catch. Michael Saunders has been dealing with that sore knee. He had his left knee surgically repaired back in February, and he's been playing. You can see he's not 100% just watching him run around the bases, so he had some fluid taken off and gave him a cortisone injection to calm down the inflammation a bit.
Yeah, he was hobbling around in Cleveland on the weekend. You could tell something was wrong, so had some fluid drained and then a cortisone shot. The complications from surgery or the little setbacks, and it's going to be a while. And you could see it's his back leg, and if your back leg as a hitter, that's your power side that you drive from. See, Michael just hasn't been able to get to the point he's wanted to be at.
Chris Colabello takes a breaking pitch at 0-2. Colabello just called up for this game. He singled in his first at bat. He's playing left field for the first time in his major league career. He tried to check and goes around. 6 strikeouts for Pineda.
He just has a very good idea of what he's doing. This is a fastball called up in the zone. There's that 4-seam grip. Across the seams, you can see the target from McCann is elevated, and Pineda hit his target. Very difficult pitch for a hitter to lay off.
2 outs. Ryan Goins will step in. Goins hits it to left. Gardner back. Running near the track at the wall. Makes the catch just a stride short of the wall in left. But the Blue Jays go down in order in their half of the 7th. Michael Pineda shutting out the Blue Jays through 7. presented by the 2015 Honda CR-V, Motor Trend's 2015 Sport Utility of the Year.
Marco Estrada was already down 3-0 in the 5th inning, and Mark Teixeira hit a first pitch fastball into the right center field bleachers that put the Yankees up 5-0, and certainly plenty of support for Michael Pineda on a night that he has just been taming the Blue Jays lineup.
Teixeira, his 10th home run of the season. The batting average is just over 200, but the production is there. This is Chad Jenkins, who will make his first appearance of the season. He made 4 starts in AAA Buffalo.
Chad is a sinker slider guy. That fastball will be around 90-91. The slider and a changeup.
Breaking ball off the plate away. It's 2-0. Teixeira, with 10 home runs, has tied Hanley Ramirez for second in the American League. Nelson Cruz of the Mariners leads the AL with 14 home runs in that big ballpark in Seattle.
That's not slowing him down, is it?
Three and one.
A lot of people were surprised when Nelson Cruz signed that free agent contract in Seattle. Big ballpark, not so homer friendly. Playing half your games there, but it is not slowing him down.
Teixeira fouls it into the seats. The problem for Seattle is Cruz has 14 home runs. The rest of the Mariners have 20. They just haven't gotten that production from the other players, Seager and Cano.
And that was what
Vogt's off to a good start.
They really needed, was that right-handed power bat. They went out and got it. Then they lost in other areas.
Teixeira fights it off. Smoke gobbles it up. Goes to first to retire Teixeira. Jenkins was on the Buffalo shuttle last year. He was up and down 6 times with the Blue Jays between big leagues and AAA Buffalo. Brian McCann 1 for 3.
Jenkins talked about that in spring training, how these options are supposed to benefit players, but they really have not benefited Chad. But after this season, that'll be over with.
Ball running off the plate. It's 3-0.
When you have such a live sinker like Chad does, we saw Aaron Sanchez on the weekend in Cleveland. You've got to start that ball in the middle of the plate so the movement will stay on the edge of the plate.
McCann says, okay, that's the way it's going to be. You can see where that 4th pitch was. There's ball 4. These two teams will be right back at it tomorrow, and the pitching matchup's an interesting one. How about Mark Buehrle against C.C. Sabathia, two of the best lefties of their generation? Buehrle leads the active pitchers in innings pitched, over 3,100 innings pitched. C.C. Sabathia is 3rd on that list. And as far as wins, Tim Hudson is first with 215, Cologne 208, tied with Sabathia. And Buehrle has 202. Colabello, the left fielder, makes the catch. Beltran is retired. So you got a couple of crafty lefties pitching tomorrow, and they have both had outstanding careers.
Outstanding careers, both of them off to a bit of a rough start. CC with his ERA at 5.4. He's 0-4. You know, Mark Buehrle has had his struggles here early, 3-2, got 3 quick victories, but his ERA just under 7.
Sabathia's in his 15th season, while Buehrle's in his 16th. The Yankees have scored 5 runs on 9 hits. The Blue Jays have managed just 5 hits. They've not scored.
Jenkins has to get back on top of the baseball a little bit, get his hand behind the ball. You get on the side of the ball, it becomes almost a push. See the ball just taken off away, arm side.
That's a base hit through the left side of the infield. Correa will play it back in. McCann stops at second. Stephen Drew has a pair of hits tonight.
Well, that's what Jenkins is after right there with that two-seam fastball, trying to get himself a ground ball. It just happened to split both infielders that were over there on the shift.
John Gibbons used Marco Estrada to start this game, and Marco went 4 2/3. And Francis, Delabar, and now Jenkins. Martin wants to go out to make sure that they're on the same page as far as the signals go, with a runner at second.
Normally you get a couple of pitchers called up like this, Delabar and Jenkins, the catcher. Russell will get with them in the clubhouse earlier today. Just want to make sure they're on the right page, what sign sequence they're using with the runner on second base.
Gibbons moving the defense around. This has been a little bit of an adjustment for the Blue Jays without Reyes. Brian Goins is playing for the 9th time at shortstop. So you don't have your regular shortstop. So all the infielders trying to get used to the range of their infield partners.
We saw those infielders out early yesterday before batting practice out there with Luis Rivera and DeMarlo Hale, and they're just looking from that shortstop position in relation to where they are at home plate. They have all the advanced scouting reports of where they want to play each hitter, but they're also allowed to tinker a little bit and just kind of use their own instincts of how a particular pitcher is pitching. There they are right there yesterday, and Luis Rivera is explaining to all of them all the different possibilities. It's not ground in stone that you have to stand right here.
And you noticed that there was not a glove in the group. They were out just talking about positioning and how you gauge where you're standing on the field. And they have a particular set of defensive signs for straight up, opposite, and pull. And they want to get everybody on the same page. That's a base hit for Gregorius. McCann's coming around third. He's going to score. Drew will go to third. He's being stopped there. And Didi Gregorius has his first hit of the night, his 5th RBI of the season, and it's 6-0 Yankees.
This fastball just stayed up in the zone from Chad Jenkins. A sinker ball pitcher needs to get the ball down, and you can see that hand on the side of the baseball, and it just stays up. When the sinker ball pitcher elevates the baseball, it's going to flatten out. You're not getting that good downward movement trying to get the hitter to hit the top of the baseball and get your ground ball. Get it up in the zone, and that's going to get squared up more often than not.
Gregorio Petit singled and scored a run in the 2nd inning.
Sinker ball pitchers really need to get on top of the baseball and work downhill, get that downward plane.
Pop back out of play over the screen into the seats. Well, there's a good pitch. That's what you're talking about there. A little bit of a sinking fastball that went under the bat.
Good movement. When you can see from here that ball sinking, that's really moving. It's moving actually more than we can visualize from a TV or a TV monitor. That's the good pitch by Jenkins, and that's his bread and butter. He has to master that pitch because that's where he gets his ground balls.
Michael Pineda has gone 7 innings. David Carpenter starting to loosen up for the Yankees. Pineda's longest outing to date, 7 2/3. That was 2 starts ago against the Mets at Yankee Stadium. Bob Thompson has moved in from the third base coaching box. He's now Girardi's bench coach. Look out. Chad Jenkins is a former #1 pick of the Blue Jays. 2009, he was picked first, 20th overall in that June free agent draft. His season a year ago came to a disappointing end when he fractured a hand during BP, got hit by a baseball, and that ended his season. Two and two, 2 outs. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th, 9-1-2 for the Blue Jays. Carrera, Travis, and Donaldson. Ow. He swung at that pitch, and the umpire at first is now going to indicate out as he swung at that pitch and it hit him. So he is out. That'll end the inning. Steve Donahue, the trainer, giving him some attention. He got hit right on that right hand. Take a look at that right on the bat. The inning is over. Yankees lead at 6-0. Now it's time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zong.
Weekend Junior Jays Saturday's return. It's presented by Boston Pizza. May 9th, the Red Sox in town to take on the Blue Jays at 107. Special price tickets in the 200 and 500 level outfield seats. And after the game, kids 14 and under can run the bases just like the pros. Go to BlueJays.com for more. Lots to do for the kids outside the ballpark as well as inside the park too, Buck.
Well, hopefully it'll be a nice day, and we'll have open-air baseball here at Rogers Center at Junior Jays Saturday. Always very popular. And, of course, the kids get to run the bases. The kids are introduced with the ball players on the third base foul line, so it's a great day. Bring your kids on out. Saturday, the Red Sox are in town. 6-0. Michael Pineda is back out for the 8th. We mentioned he went 7 2/3 against the Mets 2 starts ago. He's thrown 93 pitches to get here into the 8th. His season high was in that Mets game. He threw exactly 100. 6'7", 235. He ought to be able to throw 300 pitches.
That is one big man out there. He's been doing a very nice job tonight mixing up his 3 pitches, the fastball, the slider, and the changeup. We talked about that fastball, that he incorporates that little cut on it. Nice little accident to have that as part of your delivery. Everything is moving from Pineda. Very hard to square him up. Blue Jays have been able to do it a few times tonight, but really have not been able to string together hard contact.
Well, Pineda, as we mentioned, was with Seattle, and the Yankees felt so much about Pineda. They traded one of the top prospects in all of baseball at the time, Jesus Montero. Montero and Hector Noesi went to Seattle. That's off the end of the bat. DJ Gregorius throws it in time to get Carrera. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. That came off Ernesto Frieri, as Mookie Betts has had a big game. He's got 17 RBIs. Porcello, 7 shutout innings. He allowed 8 hits, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 6. Ogando had a clean inning. Uehara into the game.
Rick Porcello starting to lock it in a little bit.
Travis pulls that breaking ball foul. Boston scored 2 runs on 5 hits, both home runs by Mookie Betts. That was the full extent of the scoring. Tampa Bay, 8 hits to this point. Travis hit a double to the base of the wall in center back in the 5th. This is off the end of the bat. Pineda backs up, makes the play. 2 down.
The championship-winning Honda CRF 450R for those who dare to ride red.
The skyline of Toronto getting taller by the day. Building going up all over downtown Toronto. Josh Donaldson 0 for 3 so far. Hits this ball off the end of the bat. Stephen Drew from the edge of the outfield throws him out. The Blue Jays down in order in the 8th. Michael Pineda, pitching with an extra day's rest, has made the most of it. Thank you very much, Jamie Campbell. Chad Jenkins will work the ninth, his second inning here tonight in his first game this season in the big leagues. He gave up a run on 2 hits in the 8th. Now he'll deal with Jacoby Ellsbury. Ellsbury's had a big night at the plate. He stretched his hit streak to 8 straight. He is 3 for 4. Jenkins has missed on that arm side all last inning, and that ball just keeps running down and away off the plate.
And that's where, as a pitcher, you just have to get another visual. There you go. You have to make an adjustment. If it's the catcher's mitt that you normally throw at, you either ask your catcher to set up right down the middle and let that sinking action go ahead and work for you, or you shoot for Russell's right knee instead of his left knee. See him getting underneath that baseball. When you get underneath the ball, that's just staying high like that, not getting any sink whatsoever. Again, the biggest thing for a sinker ball is get on top of that, create that downward plane.
Better sinker there. Full count. Ellsbury leading off the top of the ninth. Gardner is on deck. Fly ball to center. Pilar has a bead on it. One down. Let's check in again with Jamie Campbell. Jamie, the winner in that game for the Mets, Bartolo Colon, improves to 5-1 with a .290 earned run average. He just keeps rolling along. Colon goes 7 2/3. He gives up 6 hits, 1 run, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 9.
What Josh Donaldson tell us today about how many strikes he threw in a row?
He threw 32 fastballs in a row as a member of the A's when he and Donaldson were teammates.
Josh said pitching machines don't even throw that many strikes in a row.
Yeah. Colon has thrown fastballs throughout his whole career, and he's still getting people out. Left fielder Brett Gardner been on base twice more tonight with a double and a walk. He walked twice in last night's game. The Yankees extended contract to Brett Gardner and signed him to a nice contract over $50 million. And a lot of people around the game went, really? But he is so important to them. He can lead off for you. He's had power seasons in the past. He's got speed. He's a great defender. And he brings the it factor. He just hates to lose.
The guy you want on your team. He just does everything quite well.
Now this Rodriguez got things going for New York with a 2-run double in the first. Here Gardner say it was way outside, and he didn't agree with the call at all from Ed Hickox.
And what you just say about Brett Gardner, this is the type of player he is. Brett Gardner does not care that it's a 6-0 ball game and his at-bat doesn't mean anything. It means a lot to him, and he took this pitch because he has a good knowledge of the strike zone. He knows that's off the plate, and he's upset that Ed Hickox rung him up.
Alex Rodriguez 1 for 4. That's that last pitch, and you can see why Gardner was upset being called out.
Unhittable.
That's the intensity you want.
Think
it's
he cares?
6-0, but you never know what that at bat might mean. Maybe that's how you start a hit streak, keep something going.
guy plays the game hard every inning of every game, and watch him in other games. I've seen him on TV playing in other games. It's the same thing. It's the same Brett Gardner all the time.
Rodriguez drives it to right. Carrera back. He's got room in front of the warning track and makes the catch. Jenkins retires the side in order in the ninth. Blue Jays are down by 6. David Carpenter will come into the game. Folks, a reminder right after this game, it's on Sportsnet Central. They'll bring you up to speed on everything that's going on in the baseball world, as well as the Stanley Cup playoffs on now. Blackhawks and Wild on CBC, Sportsnet 360. And a little bit later, out on the West Coast, how about a little Ducks and Flames? That's also on now on Sportsnet. It's Game 3. Anaheim leads that series 2-0. This is David Carpenter.
Carpenter pitching in his 11th game, 2.79 ERA, holding opponents to a 161 batting average. Pitched Sunday in the Yankees win at Boston, retiring the only batter he faced. Career high 65 relief outings with the Braves last season. He's a power arm, average up around 95, 96 miles per hour with a slider and a changeup.
So Pineda goes 8 strong innings, and he turns it over to Carpenter here in the ninth. Carpenter was with the Blue Jays for a while. He came to Toronto from Houston in the Jay Happ and Brendan Lyons deal. That was in July of 2012. He appeared in just 3 games with the Blue Jays. He started out in Las Vegas, pitched 16 games in Las Vegas. Alex Rodriguez is at third base. You'll remember that the third baseman, Gregorio Petit, got hit by a pitch that he swung at in the 8th. He got hit in the left hand into right hand, and he is out of the game, so the DH is now playing third. Russell Martin hits it high and deep to left. This ball is gone. Martin with his 3rd hit of the game. Double home run. His 6th homer of the season.
Well, you had said earlier the Blue Jays had not played in a shutout game this year, and they took a while, but Russell Martin finally breaks the goose egg for the Blue Jays. He took that fastball from Carpenter middle in, right into that Jays bullpen.
Boy, he's swinging the bat, didn't he? 3 extra base hits tonight. There are only 4 teams that haven't been shut out this year. Toronto, the Yankees, Boston, and Detroit. And The Blue Jays get a run here in the bottom of the ninth.
See that straight fastball, middle into Martin, and he got the barrel out front. Again, we're talking about that front side. He's really been working on getting that foot down.
Encarnacion grounds it to the shortstop. One down. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed and Eric Thomas. Thank you very much. That's all coming up right after this game, so make sure you stay tuned. Justin Smoak got the start at first base. He is 0 for 3 tonight. He drives it to left. Gardner back in a hurry at the track in front of the wall. He makes the catch. Smoak put a charge in it, but Gardner ran it down on the warning track. 2 down.
Russell Martin really coming into his own offensively, and I think it took some time getting through spring training. He had an entire pitching staff to learn, not to mention catching R.A. Dickey here early in the season. I think that takes a toll mentally and physically.
Russell heating up at the start of that last road trip. Martin had a 159 batting average. Now he's up to 263.
Talked about his strength being middle and right center, and he's told me that that does not mean you don't ever pull a ball. That means your approach is middle so that you stay behind the baseball. If you happen to catch it out front like he did right there, the barrel gets out there, you drive it to your pull side, and that's exactly what he did with that fastball from Carpenter.
Three and 0 to Pilar. Takes ball 4. 2-out walk here in the ninth. Well, the Blue Jays have been scoring a lot of runs. Not the case tonight. Michael Pineda shut him down on 5 hits over 8 innings.
No, the Blue Jays hitters just could not get anything going. They were able to get to him with a few hard hit balls, but he had that fastball, the cutter, the slider, the changeup, everything working down in the zone, downward movement. Very difficult to string together any hits to create any kind of a big inning tonight.
Chris Colabello drives it down the line in right. That's going to slice into the seats. Colabello starting in left field. Got a base hit in his first at bat. He's 1 for 3 so far. Pilar will go to second base. That will be defensive indifference, as the Yankees aren't worried about Pilar. It's a 6-1 Yankee lead. They jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first off of the starter Marco Estrada. There's a drive to center. Ellsbury back. It's over his head and bounces out of play. Colabello with a ground rule double. Pilar comes in to score. Colabello's got legitimate power. He took that ball and drilled it over the head of Ellsbury in center.
He just stayed on the baseball so well, too. Not trying to pull the ball, lets that ball get deep in his stance. And that's a good fastball from Carpenter. He's up around 95 miles per hour. But he takes it right back through the middle of the field, and he gets this ball over the head of Ellsbury. That tells you how hard he hit it.
Bounced out of play. Colabello at second now for Ryan Goins. Goins is 0 for 3. Well, Carpenter was in here just to kind of close out this 9th inning, but the Blue Jays with a home run and an RBI double. And the Yankees have gotten up their closer. Andrew Miller's throwing. Miller threw 32 pitches on Sunday night in Boston, and I'm sure they would have just as soon have him get another day's rest.
Brooke Jacoby talked about this early in the season, grinding out at bats, never giving up. Jose Bautista in the on-deck circle now. Do what you have to do when you're behind to get that other team's closer up, and then maybe at least he's burning some bullets for tomorrow.
3-0.
Even if Andrew Miller does not get into this ball game, get him up, get him hot. He has a full warm-up down there. Then if he is in the ball game tomorrow, you're at a little bit of an advantage. That's exactly what Jacoby's talking about in this situation right here.
You never know how that will impact tomorrow's game. So Goins now with a 3-1 count. Would love to get aboard and bring Bautista to the plate. There's a base hit to right. They're going to go ahead and score Colabello as Goins delivers a RBI single with 2 outs. Three runs in the inning, and Joe Girardi indeed has to call upon his closer. Home run, RBI single, Andrew Miller into the game to face Jose Bautista. This will be his 13th appearance. He is 10 for 10 in save opportunities. You can see he hasn't given up an earned run this season.
23 strikeouts in his 13 1/3 innings of work. Opponents hitting just .068 against him. Struck out at least 2 batters in 7 of his 12 games. He has been virtually unhittable for the Yankees.
A man on. Jose Bautista coming off the bench to bat for Ezekiel Carrera. 2 outs. Bautista takes the first pitch for a strike. Goins goes into second.
Two-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider, fastball be around 95.
There's a lot of sliders. Bautista's 2 for 5 with a homer against Miller. It's a good slider. The Blue Jays scored 3 runs in the 8th in last night's win. It was the first time the Yankees lost when leading after 7.
When you have Miller and Betances down there, it's not going to happen very often.
No swing, says the first base umpire, Toby Basler. 2-2 to Bautista.
Fastball up and away right there. I got to believe he's going back to the slider, and he'll try to bury it down and in on Bautista.
Fastball he missed. It's a full count. Devin Travis is on deck.
Very interesting. He went to the fastball there. I thought slider for sure. I'm going to go slider again here, 3-2.
Ball 4. That'll bring the tying run to the plate.
Great effort by the Blue Jays in this 9th inning, not just to get their closer up, but actually up hot and in the game. Remember, just 2 nights ago, he threw 30-something pitches in Boston Sunday night, so this will really make an impact not only tonight, but in tomorrow night's game.
2 outs. Devin Travis lays off that breaking ball. Miller has not fared well in this ballpark for his career. He's 0-1 with a 6 earned run average, and he's given up 3 home runs. Looked like the same pitch, but it's 1-1. Fly ball to right. Chris Young is in right, and that'll do it. But the Blue Jays get into the Yankees bullpen. They bring Miller out. Miller comes on to pick up his 11th save. Blue Jays got a home run from Martin, a couple of RBI hits, but the Yankees win it 6-3 to even the series at a game apiece.
That was a nice job by the Blue Jays in the 9th inning to make some noise, but very difficult. This was the Michael Pineda show tonight. Marco Estrada on the Blue Jays side. Pretty good start, but Pineda just too tough for this Blue Jays lineup this evening.
The Blue Jays send 8 men to the plate in the 9th, but the Yankees hold on for the win. A reminder, Sportsnet Central coming up next on Sportsnet 1 Hockey, CBC, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night. Burley and Sabathia. Here's Ken Reed and Eric Thomas.